Hello and welcome to a new episode of Sem Connects Virtually.
This week, we are chatting with comedian and magician Denny Corby. As you may have seen, on Wednesday, December 9th, we are holding a virtual holiday gathering featuring Denny. Not only is this an opportunity to see a fun show from the comfort of your own home, but all the proceeds will go towards the SEM Fund.
The SEM Fund directly supports our students and faculty, and that support is needed now more than ever. So we hope you will join us from the comfort of your home for a fun night while supporting our SEM family.
Now, please enjoy getting to know a little bit more about Denny Corby.
Hi, Denny. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are so excited about the virtual holiday show you'll be putting on for the SEM community.
Oh, it's going to be so much fun. Thank you so much for having me. You know, it's one of those things I'm super fortunate that not only do I get to travel doing what I love, but also being able to help organizations raise money for specific causes. So I'm super excited to be a part of this, especially being from Northeast PA. So win-win.
Yes, absolutely. Can you tell us about how you came into this line of work of being a comedian and a magician? You don't really hear about that type of a career every day.
Yeah. So the joke is, if anybody watches the TV show The Office, most people in our area do, or at least know of it. It's based off a paper supply company in Scranton, and my family actually owns the paper supply company in Scranton. So if you watch the opening credits, there's like the big brick tower. That's our building. So for years, ever since I was younger, I thought I was going to run the family business eventually when I get older. So, I loved magic even as a young kid. Always had like magicians at my birthday parties. And then as I got older, I was still doing shows here and there. And then the older I got, the shows were becoming more frequent. But I've worked for my dad since I was 16. Like I've stripped and waxed floors, cleaned bathrooms, loaded the trucks, unloaded the trucks, drove. Like I did everything and got up to sales. And my parents realized like I did it, but I didn't love it because I was still performing and doing other shows. So they kind of sat me down one day in December and were like, hey, the new year's coming up. We know you don't love being here. Why don't you go off and try the magic full time? Give it a year, 2 years, however old, however long it is. We just don't want you to be 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 in life going, what if I would have tried doing magic full time? So it's because of my parents that I am doing this full time. So now my dad happily tells people his 30-year-old son quit a third generation family business to turn tricks for a living. So.
Well, that's awesome of your parents.
Yeah, they're really cool.
Denny, you've been on a lot of different shows. What was it like being on the Penn and Teller show and performing for well-known stars?
That was like, I'm getting the chills now, just like thinking about it. It was such a cool experience. Not to get like super deep, but it was like 19 years ago now. My parents took me to the Scranton Cultural Center, the old Masonic Temple, to go see Penn and Teller when they came to Scranton back when they were touring. That's when I found out Teller actually talks, because I was like, nice to meet you. He was like, nice to meet you too. And I was like, what in the world? And the weird thing is, when I was moving to my new house, my mom gave me a box of just like old stuff I still had like in their house. She was like in the basement clearing stuff. I was like, oh, I found like an old like magic box. So inside was like some old stuff, but then as well as like concert tickets and show tickets from shows that my parents took me to when I was younger. And I found the Penn and Teller ticket stub from when they came to Scranton, which isn't the weird part. The weird part is it was in February, 18 years ago, 19 years ago. The strange part was the day I was filming in Vegas for Penn and Teller Fool Us on their stage, it was almost 18 years to the date that I saw them in Scranton on our stage. So there's like a weird, like one of those like universal, like, I don't believe in all that, but it's like, this is a weird coincidence. But it was just absolutely amazing being able to go out there and, I don't want to call them my heroes, but it's like, it's someone who you look up to in magic. And it was just a crazy experience. And then having like my whole family in the audience too, it was just a very surreal moment.
How did you get on the show? Did you have to audition and then were you chosen out of a number of different, magicians?
Yes. So it's kind of like what I tell people in life and kind of how I got to where I'm at. My dad always taught me, if you don't ask, you don't know. So most of the stuff I got in life is just from asking. So like I have friends who are like, how'd you get that gig? I'm like, I asked. Like, how'd you get on Penn and Teller Fool Us? Like, I emailed them and asked. Like, it was just one of those, like, I just asked. Worst thing people can say is no.
Right.
So I actually reached out a couple of years ago, but it was too late. It was past the point of the like auditions and stuff. So they said email us back in like October of next year. So I emailed them back and they were like, this is great. And then like, it was just all uphill from there.
That's awesome. Obviously the pandemic has affected, you know, multiple businesses, and part of your whole, you know, thing is that you're live, you want to be in front of people. So how did it affect the work you do? Like, how did you pivot and continue to be successful throughout this really, really odd time?
Yeah. Great question. So, you know, I was in a very dark place when this hit. Because to me, you know, 5-6 years of hard work just went down the drain. For me, the worst part was I had 3 shows in Hawaii on 2 islands booked over 3 weeks, and that got canned. I was like, no, that was like the worst part. Yeah. But, you know, it was one of those, you know, I was not in a good place for about 2 weeks. And, you know, it was one of those, I kind of put on my like big boy pants, and I'm a big fan of commit first, figure the rest out later. So I sent a little email to my database just going, hey, thinking about doing a virtual show, anybody interested? And this was like late March, and my inbox just flooded. I was like, oh, okay. And then they're like, hey, can you do it like starting April 1st? And I was like, sure. So that's when I reached out to a local production company. And at the time I was in my apartment, which I didn't want to be in my apartment for my virtual shows. I think there's something about going to like a place. So I rented some studio space. Actually, ironically enough, it was in my dad's office. They had like a couple spare rooms. So I was actually doing shows live from like the real Dunder Mifflin. So, you know, I got a whole production equipment going on, like a couple different cameras, which is, I'm in my new studio now. So I have a couple different cameras here that I switch between for the acts. In the beginning, I was kind of hoping it was only going to be a short time. Then I realized it was going to be a much longer, I don't want to say process, but this whole longer thing. And weirdly enough, it was actually better for my business because I can now do multiple shows in a day, where in the past I was flying a lot. Yeah. So, you know, I would fly out, and I'm very like paranoid when I travel. So most of the time I'd fly out the day prior to do a 1-hour show the next day, which is usually at night. And then I would fly home the morning after that, or fly to like the next city. Right. So, you know, it's really difficult to do more than one show in a day, which now, you know, I can do a 60-minute show, and then a couple minutes after that go into like the next show. In the very beginning, when everything first went down in March, there were some days I were doing upwards of like 7, 8, 9 shows in one day.
Wow. Crazy.
So, you know,
people
it's one
really
of those,
needed that.
The liveness of it, like the interaction of people, but I think I've adapted well and learned to love it.
Yeah. Great. Well, and I think we could all agree, we all kind of went into like a weird little place there for a little bit. And speaking for myself, I'm so excited for December 9th and really looking forward to, you know, I like having a night out, but it's even better to have a night out, but not really have to leave my own home. Is it possible to see like a little teaser of what we can expect on that special night?
Because you asked so nicely. Sure. Let's do this. Okay. So who wants to help, Liz or Maddie?
You take it, Maddie.
Yes. I love being
right under the bus. Like, I don't want to see this.
I just felt like she was really excited.
I love participating.
And yet you've never come to one of my live shows. Awesome. Thank you. Really appreciate all the support, Maddie. So let me ask, if I were to ask you to, I don't know if you can turn like one like your sides there. I don't know if there's a clock on a wall, but don't say anything out loud. But if I were to ask you to think of a time on that clock, not a digital clock, but an actual old school clock, if you were to think of a time on there, can you do that for me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So keep that time in the back of your head. Don't say it out loud. Where are you currently right now?
My kitchen.
Oh, I meant like city. I'm sorry, like that.
Oh. Dallas, Pennsylvania.
Yes. Okay. So I'm in Clark Summit. What I'm going to attempt to do is reach through the interwebs to Dallas, pluck the time out of your head and put it onto my watch. Now, I forgot to put on my other camera, so forgive me, but you can pretty much see the time there when it's going to be time. So let me pull out the little pin so I can move the hands around. There we go. If you can do me a favor, think about the time in the back of your head. Don't say it out loud, but out loud, count from 1 to 12.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
And as quick as you can, go from 12 down to 1.
12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It's actually very slow, but okay.
Had to think.
Do you have any pets?
No.
What color is your car?
Red.
What color is the inside?
Black.
What's your favorite color of the alphabet?
What?
Perfect. Okay, so we write about here. Let's go back. Chinese food or sushi?
Chinese food.
Okay, that's gonna go right here. Steak or shrimp?
Steak.
Go back a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna keep it right here in front of us. What is the time that you are thinking of?
6:15.
And then was there any significance at 6:15 or no?
No.
Just completely random. So there was nothing like, oh, you were born at 6:15 or anything like that?
I saw the 6 and then I'm like, oh, 15.
All right, nailed it. That's so crazy because it's gonna be a little hard to see, but on my watch.
Oh my God, I can see it.
6:15.
Awesome.
Normally I have like a really cool like close-up camera that's like up there. You can see it super clear, but I didn't know we were gonna do magic today, so didn't plan on that.
Very cool.
Oh my God.
Wow.
That is awesome. And that is just a snippet of what we can expect on December 9th.
Yeah, you know, I'm super excited for this, not only to do the show, but also to help out, you know, an amazing cause and the school also. You know, and I'm going to tell people like I'm a very interactive performer. So the hardest part for me doing the virtual shows is not having the actual audience, but being on Zoom, even though I can't hear all the people, I can still see them. So I have a really cool studio set up. I have like 3 different monitors here. So as I'm doing the show, I can see all the people. So I kind of see them having fun, then I have more fun, which means they have more fun. There's tons of like audience participation. It's really cool. Actually, that box plays a very big role in the whole show, whole show too. There we go. Didn't have my coffee yet, but yeah, I'm just super excited. It's going to be super, super fun. So yeah, if you don't have your tickets yet, make sure you get them.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Denny.
This is awesome. Thank you so much.
We can't wait to see you on December 9th.
Thank you so much for having me.